I don't feel alone. We just settled in and it already feels like home.
You're listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford.
Hey guys, this is Marty, and this week's Feels Like Home podcast, we sat down with Dan Oney, owner of JerkyPro. And JerkyPro is a local beef jerky company that started out of a dream and maybe even a dorm room at Wright State University years ago. Our buddy Dan, he was in the police force and retired and was like, I'm a young guy, still have a lot of time, and I want to try something. So he went back to this idea that he and a buddy of his from college had about making beef jerky. And so they do things a little different. It's not your average beef jerky. But the really cool part of the story is how they've been able to tie themselves to esports and become the official beef jerky of esports. And that's pretty impressive. But they've also branched out into MMA and UFC and Bellator. And so it's an amazing story. We hope you enjoy it today. Mike and I really had a great time. And here we go.
All right. With us today, to me, this is one of the Ross County unsung stories that we decided to do this podcast for. So JerkyPro is a beef jerky company based in Ross County, run by a Ross County native, Dan Oney, who's with us today. Super excited to have you, Dan. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Mike.
And Dan has this great story that we're gonna dig into today. So, if for those of you who don't know about JerkyPro, I'll let Dan start off by kind of telling you a little bit about what JerkyPro is, and then we'll get into the story of how JerkyPro became what it is. So, Sure. Why don't we start at the beginning on what it is and what how it became about?
Yeah, well, my name's Dan Oney. I'm originally from Chillicothe, born and raised. Several years ago, back in 1995. Several years ago, it seems like now. So, yeah, we went there, and me and my business partner at the time, we were roommates, and we always had that entrepreneurial spirit about us, and wanted to get into something, and just went back and forth what we can do and what we couldn't do, and different things like that. And by the time college was done, we decided I started to go into law enforcement at the time, and he started going to more computer work and computer engineering specifically. So, I started my career with the Chillicothe Police Department, and over several years, I ended up going out on a retirement through some medical issues with my back. And but I still had that inspiration to be able to talk to people a lot, and still had that business mindset, and still wanted to be able to help people and different things like that. And I wanted to do something else. I'm still young, and it really took off. So at that point, we started thinking about things I could do. And I remember back to college, like, well, let's try that beef jerky company. Let's do that. So the other guy, Brian Skaggs is his name. He was one of the original founders of the company with me. We started out doing it, and it really took off from there.
So were you creating your own beef jerky, like just like you and your friends, like just making your own?
So it started out as as a small hobby idea, and then it just exploded. I mean, the whole company just really exploded, took off really, really fast to the point we needed to find a way to co-pack this stuff. Unbeknownst to us, by using Twitter, a lot of people in Chillicothe don't use Twitter, and it's a gigantic asset to us,
Mm-hmm.
And we started using Twitter, and we started incorporating, believe it or not, the video game side of it, or the esports aspect of it, and it just really took off from there. And at that point, we said we need a co-packer, so we needed to large scale this at this point. So we have it packaged with our recipes, and it's distributed to all these different stores and here locally, and that's really where it took off.
So when you start out with the jerky, you start out with what flavors?
The original flavors were original. That was the actual one. So that was more of a brown sugar sweet. Then we went into first of them was 5 original flavors. So original, peppered, a red hot, was another one. Teriyaki. I'm thinking the other one.
Was it sweet barbecue?
Honey glazed. Honey glazed.
Right.
That's actually our most popular one right now. From day one, we've been doing this for almost 6 years now. So, but yeah,
Sorry.
but yeah, those are original ones. And then over the years, we try to incorporate a new flavor every year. We try to, and we just had it last couple weeks. It was National Beef Jerky Day.
Yeah,
June 12th. Every single year, we try to come out with something new. And we went out with the sweet barbecue at one point. That's one of our newest one. And then we got into the nuclear jerky, which you had firsthand of trying that one.
Yes, there's actually video proof of this, of Dan talking me into this last year. So
What's the base of that one?
So it's got 3 different peppers into it.
Okay.
A Carolina Reaper,
Okay.
ghost pepper, and habanero pepper. All 3 of them in there.
Okay.
And what really makes it unique, it's not really a flake. It's more, we make of a rub out of it.
Yeah.
So it's more a concentrated powder. So you get the real kick out of all 3 spices combined. So
Yep.
yeah, it's pretty rough stuff.
I can test. I can sing.
So
I don't know about the virtues. I could sing the agony of the
Right.
nuclear jerky.
So it's one of those novelty jerkies, but then you get so many of these orders that some people eat it routinely. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how people do that, honestly.
Yeah.
But people love it.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where people want to do a nuclear challenge, to see if they can actually eat the entire bag.
Oh my.
And as of right now, to my knowledge, there's only been 4 or 5 people out of several thousand people that's tried this, and they can't do this.
Yeah, I can't test that.
Yeah, so
I like I like jalapenos, and I even like ghost peppers, so I can handle some hot stuff. But
it's that Carolina Reaper that'll get you every time.
Stay away from that.
So yeah, on our site, we wanted to make sure that everyone was safe with it too, because I mean it can be really dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So we made a requirement that 18 and up to buy this, and it's
It makes sense.
so yeah, we definitely want to make sure we had that liability covered on that one. So
It's crazy.
yep.
Yeah, over the pandemic, I became a gardener last year, and I raised basically stuff to make salsa.
Mhm.
And so I tried my hand at jalapenos, and then I tried a couple habanero plants,
Mhm.
but I stayed away from the ghost peppers and the super hot stuff.
Stuff that'll kick you. Huh?
Yeah, but I love jalapenos, and so but you're right, man. Those other peppers are super hot. It's crazy.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
The thing that I think, one of the things I think is really interesting about what you do, Dan, is the variety of sweet flavors that you have.
Mhm.
Is kind of sets you apart from a lot of, I mean, that and the nuclear, of course, but
Yeah.
and so I'm really interested because you have a brand new flavor that's coming out. I think it's coming out this week, and
Yeah, this week actually.
and that's apple cinnamon. And I'm just interested about the test process. How do you come up with apple cinnamon?
That is
as
so
a,
funny you say that.
a jerky flavor.
Yeah.
So hopefully a bunch of the guys that we play poker with, they're listening to this. So it was a lot of trial and error. So we take some jerky, and then we did so many different things, from new chili lime to apple flavors with sugar, this amount of sugar without it, and it just took several weeks of, all right, this is the right one. This is the right preparation for it, and that's what we ended up going with. So
So you have a lot of buddies that were like,
Oh, yes,
test
they're-
subjects
yeah,
that
they're my
really
taste.
enjoyed all the different.
Yeah. In talking with Dan before, I feel like the test kitchen is equal to the number of poker players that you have at a specific time.
Exactly.
Right?
Now it was a fun time, and they can attest to this, when we were sampling the nuclear jerky. So that was actually pretty.
And I think Ernie Large was the one that told me like he won't mess with it at
No,
all.
that
He
one
tried
actually,
it once, maybe.
Well, that's a funny story with that one. So Ernie was out on a golf course, right? And he
That's-
just thought it was normal beef jerky, and
That's
he's
right,
on
I
the
do
back
remember.
9, didn't have anything to drink, right? And it really kicked him pretty hard. So
Yeah, that's
it took him 3 holes to get over it. So
That's great.
well, I think the other thing that really sets you apart, Dan, and I'm not a huge jerky person, but I will eat JerkyPro because of the moistness of. It's not like some of that jerky out there is like chewing a piece of leather.
and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, and
So-
why is that? So tell me a little bit about your process and what went into it for you to say, I'm going to set myself apart by doing this, making it like this.
Sure. So most of the hardness that you actually get from a beef jerky is going to be like a dehydrated kind, and they'll just suck all the moisture out of that. So what we do is we actually bake the jerky in small batch increments, and 10 pound less. of jerky, and the actual weight of it is 10 pounds and less. So it's a small batch, as opposed to a Jack Links or something like that just really large scales this. It's really no quality to it or whatsoever. So it is a little more expensive than a Jack Links, but yeah, I mean, you pay for what you get, obviously. Right. So
yeah. And when you decided that beef jerky was sort of like the company that you wanted to start, mm-hmm. It was sort of grown out of this hobby, but also just an entrepreneurial spirit as well. But yep. When do you reach a point where you're like, okay, this has kind of gotten a little bigger than I maybe thought it was going to be, and now I've got to scale this a little bit?
Well, right about the time we started. Okay, so when I was a police officer, we'd get off of work at around 11 o'clock at night, right? And we obviously didn't go bar hopping or do anything crazy like that. The downtime would be go home and play some video games, a bunch of guys. And then over time, you start meeting other people from law enforcement, and it was just become a solid group of people. And it just wasn't just from here. It was mm-hmm. people from Cleveland to Columbus to Cincinnati. And next thing you know, you have people from different states, and we're all congregating together and just going back and forth and having a good time about it. And next thing you know, you got several hundred people that you're conversing with nightly on. And then it's turned into thousands of people, and like, well, hold on, we're on to something here, you know? And it just really took off. And and the way we use Twitter is very very different than what we're used to locally, because a lot of people here will use like a Facebook, you know, or right. something like that. Not so much of a Twitter handle. So Twitter is more of has that more of an anonymity, just like video games. So when you're playing a video game, you'll go by, you know, some made up name, you mm-hmm. know. I mean, it could be anything like Black Horse or something, you know, you just don't know what it is. So at Twitter, you use the same handle, so they don't really know who you are. So you have that anonymity. And we just started using that, and it just really took off, guys. I mean, it was unbelievable. And then the esports side of it really took off, and that's our breadwinner. Our group of people that follow us and really interact well with us is from the esports scene and Twitch. Are you familiar with Twitch? Yeah. So we have all of our people, they're on Twitch constantly promoting us, and we can't thank them enough, you know. And that's what a lot of those streamers like is support, mm-hmm. you know. And that's one thing that really got me is I thought outside the box. What is something that these companies aren't doing with these streamers? They're just not interacting with them, and I didn't like that. And there was another company. I probably shouldn't say their name, and probably won't. But you know, I saw how they were operating and how they were interacting with their people, and it's just in the back of my mind, thinking I can do that better, you know. Yeah. And sure enough, I can. So and I did. So
how did you come up with? Was it your own playing the video games mm-hmm. and being involved in that? Is that why you decided to go after the esport crowd with
That's
the
it.
product?
That's exactly it. Okay. Yeah, it just turned into a casual weekend warrior kind of just video gaming to, you know, esports alone it's relatively a new thing. You know, it's been around for several years, but when we first started it, it was just very, very new at the time, you know. And
we have another podcast episode where we talked to Matthew Benson, and we dove pretty deep into esports and its growth, and so I could see, you know, but like you don't normally think of esports and beef jerky, right?
Exactly.
Right. So that's an interesting marriage of product and market, and
exactly,
and how that helped you take off is.
Yeah. So when you see something like that, you think, okay, when you're playing video games, what are you doing? You're drinking, you're doing whatever, you're eating snacks or whatever. Would, you know, a lot of these people are on mics and they're streaming, and would their audience rather listen to them chew a bag of chips, or would they like to see them eat jerky? That, I mean, hopefully you don't make a sound when you're eating that kind of stuff. So
it's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's kind of a neat neat market niche that you were able to capitalize on up front, and then probably helped you branch into lots of other markets. But
absolutely. Well, when we really first started taking off is when we started gaining attention from Major League Gaming. I don't know if you're familiar with them guys. They were bought out, I believe, in 2015 by Activision. And but yeah, we got a lot of growth from them, a lot of partnerships. And whenever they started, they had an arena up in Columbus. That's really when it started taking off. And they said, "Hey, you know what would be good for you guys is to really trademark this and to become the official jerky of esports." So we're like, let's do that. So years later, after a lot of legal,
I was going to say that seems like a really simple process.
And it wasn't. It almost took 2 years of just completely battling back and forth. So we're the official jerky of esports, and then you have other companies like they have the official beer of esports, Anheuser-Busch, and there's just so many official of esports, and it's really good, actually. And then that parlayed into working with other well-known companies. Turtle Beach is another one. Control Freak, Kill Cliff, just a bunch of different really big companies.
Which, didn't you just do a promo with Kill Cliff?
Yeah, and we are incredibly honored to work with those guys. So Kill Cliff really wasn't into the esports part of it just yet. They needed our help, believe it or not, to get into the esports part of it. They were more into they sought us out because in addition to the esports part of it, we also promote giving back to our military. Okay, and that's something that they are built on. So they are part of the Navy SEALs Foundation. So we help them as much as they can help us. We cross promote, and it's just that's what businesses should be doing. Especially if we're trying to gain the same kind of audience. But they've been a great asset to us.
Well, and I think that you're touching on something there that I think is very, very important in a post-COVID world. We all kind of had to work together to get through last year or so. And I think that has led to, just because we've kind of emerged from this thing, doesn't mean we have to stop working together.
Absolutely.
And I think the more partnerships that we can form, the better I think we're going to be. And I think, you're kind of exhibiting that as well.
I agree.
They may have needed you for that sort of foray into the esports world, but you kind of needed to work with them just to kind of also gain more market
just to get our name out there.
Yeah.
They're fully endorsed through Joe Rogan. We all know who that person is.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, when you meet that right match of people who work well together, and we've worked well with them immensely. So just from our recognition from working with the military, we work with a company called Helping Heroes of America, and they're out of Indianapolis. So every year we're dedicated to sending over 600 care packages across seas for those troops that are deployed troops. So they at least get 600 care packages with our jerky in those, along with little Debbie's and different things like that, or toiletries and different things like that. So a taste from home when you're. I'm sure I wasn't in the military, but I'm sure if you're that far away, a taste from home goes so far with these guys.
Yeah.
So
you try to focus on local soldiers that that are over there, or is it sort of like a catch-all where you're just sending it out there? But
right. Well, they organize it.
Okay.
They organize who gets sent what and when, and they work on by requests.
Yeah.
So if anybody's interested in that, the contact for them, lady's name is Jennifer Harewood at Helping Heroes of America. Just give her an email, and she'll definitely get you on the list to get one of your guys a hand there.
Yeah.
Or girls.
Looking back at just kind of stepping back into the esports thing, you were also working on sponsorships too, right? Where you are sponsoring certain gamers and certain streamers and things like that as well.
Absolutely.
How'd that come about?
So again, Major League Gaming. So they had an event. It was one of the Call of Duty championships. It was out in California. So every one of their pro teams was sent a very large package from us for each member of each one of the teams out there, and it just they started eating it. They started promoting it without us even having to ask. Next thing we know, they're taking videos like, you guys got to check this out, and it really is amazing how this just took off. You just need. one leap of faith to one person, and it just goes. I mean, it's phenomenal.
And really, the sponsorship realm is a thing that can really only expand. I mean, as we've talked about with esports, market's kind of endless. It's not like only 10 video games are coming out a year. It is thousands of games that are coming out every year, and some of those catch on, some don't. But the ones that catch on, boy, do they catch on!
Absolutely.
And so, when we had Matthew on here and talking to him about, how he gets college scholarships for people from Venezuela, a full ride to UCLA and things like that. That's a pretty fascinating look into a world that we're kind of only scratching the surface
Absolutely.
of right now.
And when they started doing college scholarships, that blew my mind, because I think that is amazing. And that's one thing aside from jerky that I touch on is these guys who stream this. It takes and it requires a certain amount of intelligence to actually play a lot of these things, and it really develops you mentally with this stuff. It's really strategic. So and the potential for an actual salary or an income from these. I mean, some of these guys are making more than all of us here sitting in this room combined.
Right.
So it's just it's phenomenal just to see how these schools and colleges are supporting that, and we need to get away from the taboo of thinking that video games or esports is bad just because you see a kid sitting and playing these games. That's just not the case. So it's very, very a very good thing for us, I think.
Yeah, we talked about that with Matthew, about how the perception of video games as, quote, a waste of time is really not.
No.
It can be, but for the most part, a lot of kids...
It's entertainment.
Really, can be an open door, really.
Yeah, and then when they get into this whole streaming on Twitch, I mean, the audience on it is just amazing.
Yeah.
You click a button and you're live, and next thing you know, you have 2,000 people watching what you're doing. Yeah. I don't know of any other better marketing strategy out there.
Yeah,
and like I said, when we first started this company, a lot of people are trying to stream. A lot of people are trying to get their foot in the door, and they just need that audience.
Yeah.
And what better way to do that than have a company support what you're trying to do, as opposed to just being some random Joe and getting on a video game and trying to stream it and trying to wing it. It goes a long way. And another thing is they hold these charity events, and we back companies like, or charity companies like Autism Speaks. We do that a lot with different gaming companies. So so it's a good way to raise a lot of money for them.
And you, with JerkyPro, you've really focused, as you mentioned, on military and trying to help military. Talk a little bit about how that kind of became a thing for you, because obviously a lot of companies give back, but everybody kind of picks and chooses their own thing. You mentioned that you weren't in the military, so how did it kind of come about that you wanted to give back to that?
When you have so many years into the police department, you kind of live that lifestyle as it is. And a lot of your friends and your patrol partners are military based. I would say 90% of our police department across the entire nation is a part of, or had been a part of, the military of some sort. My father was in the military. My father-in-law, he was in the military. So it's just something that you hold dear to yourself, to really want to be able to support people like that and in your community, really. Yeah.
And that sort of led to your involvement in that realm, and some with our local schools as well, led to you kind of being nominated for a really prestigious award last year from the Better Business Bureau. The Torch Award. You were a finalist, I think, in the category of community service, I think is what
that's exactly what it was.
I think.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that, because I remember I think I got an email from you to kind of say, hey, or maybe a phone call, and you were like, we got nominated for this award.
Yes.
And I don't know how this happened, but
exactly. If you're listening and you nominated, thank you so much, because we have no idea who nominated us for that. But yeah, they reached out to us and said, hey, we're doing this. You've been nominated for the annual Torch Award for business ethics. And that was just, we were blown away. That's when, like you said, when we went to, is this real? Like we wasn't guessing that, we wasn't anticipating that at all. But yeah, they did a photo shoot with you and I and Kim Large and Ernie Large came down. We all did that and did a video shoot down at the chamber, and that was a fun time. We ended up number 5 or 5th in the entire state of Ohio on that one and that was just a great honor. I mean, it really was to be recognized in that way. So
yeah, what was really, I think, is really cool about that is there is no JerkyPro store, right? Like there's not
no,
and there's no factory in Kingston.
No.
and so it's really kind of interesting to.
And there's a reason for that because we distribute into. I mean, we're almost at 20 different stores at this point. You know, from gas stations to local retail, corner market to Hirsch's Fruit Farm to the bowling alley to. I mean, there's just so many different places here in town, and to have an actual storefront would kind of defeat the purpose of local distribution, you know?
Sure.
And we like for those local companies to be able to make a profit too, you know what I mean? Sure. So what's the point in coming to our store if you can go down to the local Valero and get it, you know? So that's it.
Talk a little bit about the delivery system for those stores, because that's kind of a fun part of your story too. So,
well, you know, as I get older and the more stores we get into, we kind of went into the recruiting process of my kids of doing that and having them going to deliver to these stores. It was either, all right, go flip a burger at Burger King or work for old dad. And boy, they actually really like that. And it's something that's really teaching them the entrepreneurial side of it. And it gets them more acclimated to and ready for life, basically.
Yeah.
Anytime you have a chance to teach your kids something like that, it's a great teaching moment.
Sure.
I've got a couple little side hustles going on, and they started because over dinner, my youngest daughter Caroline is like, "Dad, how do you start a business?" I'm like, "I don't know, but let's try. Let's come up with it. You got to have an idea first.
Got to light that fire, man, and it takes off."
And I said,
I have something to go with.
Yeah, and I was like, "And you're our CEO." She was like,
cool?
"That's the coolest thing ever," you know.
Yes.
So, you know, that I think that the chance you have to get to work with your kids, that's pretty special too.
Sure.
I mean, we have in this area, we have a lot of family run businesses, and you see the family members come back to work, you know, Hirsch's, and we met with Emily Gerber a few weeks ago, and coming back to work the family business.
Sure.
That's a cool opportunity.
Yeah. Aside from local retail, we do, events, I mean, you're talking from Jeep Fest, which that's come up right around the corner out the fairgrounds, July, I believe it's the 2nd through the 5th, 4th.
The 4th,
I think that's what it is. But, there's just always something to be able to do, and we've gotten to the point, we've done it for so many years. People are expecting us to be there. And that is so cool, to know that people are expecting you to be at these events, and we don't miss a one. And then having the kids involved in that, it just takes a lot of, off of my plate, and we're able to be in 2 different places at one time, and we're able to sponsor these local events. And we're, when we first had started, like I said, on top of the events, another way we could give back and to be able to 2 birds, 1 stone kind of thing. And we started to allowing some high school sports, and I think Southeastern was one of them. One of their cheerleaders ran our booth for 1 year, and they kept the profits, and that paid for their cheerleading uniforms. And we give to Zane Trace, their athletic boosters, help them out. They've got a field to play for or to pay for. And then it's just really taken off, and we really started endorsing their MADE program, the My Attitude Determines Everything. That is one of the greatest things that came through here. So being a police officer and then turning into the anti-drug scene, I mean, that's just a great marriage right there alone. So
yeah. What's the coolest thing for you about JerkyPro as it exists today? I mean, you've got a little bit of history to look at now. You got your kids working with you.
Mm-hmm.
What's the coolest thing that you look at and you just go, man, that's such a great part of our story?
Starting from nothing and where it's at, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have never fathomed that. I mean, we're in small town Chillicothe, It's very strange because we're a small town, but we're big at the same time.
Sure. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
It's, but you start from nothing, and then you work for so many years into one trade, and then it's like, okay, well, what do you do now? and in all those years, believe it or not, being a police officer prepped me for the entrepreneurial, to be able to speak, to be able to talk to people, and to be able to gain that trust from your public. So that's really it in a nutshell, and how we've been able to integrate into esports that I would have never thought that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. And the thing that I think really lends in your favor, I think, is just the genuineness of you and your character and so on.
I appreciate that.
It's really there's not a lot of, if you talk to the CEO of some other rival beef jerky company,
yes,
you probably, number one, you're probably never going to get to them.
No,
right?
No.
But you seem to be accessible and available to just about anybody, from the
Absolutely.
guy that buys 1 3-ounce bag on your site that is getting shipped to Oregon.
Yes.
To the people that are around here and see you at the store.
Every single person that's helped us grow this company. I mean, like I said, on social media, on Twitter, there's probably a chance I'll never meet some of these people.
Yeah.
But you know what? I appreciate them 100%. Yeah. Everyone here in our local town that supports us, I appreciate them 100%, because, I mean, it's all about helping each other, know, and it's really made the company what it is now. So
yeah. What's the reach of JerkyPro? Like, where are you sending it to? All 50 states? Are you?
Yeah, we're international at this point. So as of last week, I did a check on that. We've delivered into 12 different countries at this point. So and it's becoming very, very difficult now, especially with COVID, because they scan a lot of different things. They don't allow certain things in the countries, and it's just very
makes the nuclear jerky a little problematic.
Yeah, especially on the tagline you're delivering, because when you send it out to international and say 3-ounce nuclear, like, okay,
what's that all about?
We might have changed that name on that one. So
yeah, that's interesting.
But yeah, that's a very very cool thing to do too, because a lot of these guys who do buy international, and they do it a lot actually, they always take videos of themselves in Netherlands or Australia or something. And how cool is that to have something from Chillicothe, Ohio, and this guy in Netherlands is now promoting it.
That's one of the coolest things I like about your website, is at the bottom you'll see the little thing scroll across that says, Sean S. just bought this in, Napa, California, or whatever. Right. It's always like I sit there and watch it like the ticker on ESPN, like,
it's
I wonder
so cool.
Where's it going next? Where are we going next? So I think that's really cool.
Even to this day, I look at every single order, and I think that is the coolest thing, to know that something you're doing in Chillicothe, Ohio, is just going to all these different places. So it's just sprouting out, and it is wonderful. It really is. So.
And an idea that germinated out of a Wright State University.
Yeah, just what exactly? We're 18 years old. What are we going to do? And I don't know. It's just some country guys from Chillicothe, Ohio, in a big dorm room. Well, what do we do? Yeah. So, and that's where the ball started brewing.
And you landed on jerky.
Yeah,
that's right.
Of all things.
Yeah.
And it's really, and it I mean, some people started the idea up, and it's just not very popular. I mean, and then you come up with something like this, and you're just, everyone does like your jerky. Yeah. So it's a very cool experience too. So.
Where do you see the company going, and do you see? I mean, you mentioned that you try to do a new flavor every year, on at least on that one day, but I know that you've done a few others. I mean, obviously flavors are a thing that you can do, but do you see yourself branching out in any other products or things like that?
Absolutely. So, right before COVID, it seems like everything COVID related, everything just stopped. Like just everything was there. Right before COVID, and we just started the talks again. So Kroger's had reached out to us, and that is something we're very interested in doing, and working with food distributors, and being able to do that, and having it into 50 some stores across Ohio, and then having that at a regional idea. And then you got Sam's Club for our 1 pound bags, and that's another door we can start opening up. So it's a really cool thing that they're contacting us.
Yeah.
Noticing that how some of these retail locations, their jerky sales are going up, 50 to 100% just because we're in that store.
Yeah.
So that's where I see it. And but that's it.
Yeah, that's cool. If you listen to our podcast, you will hear a continuous theme throughout almost every episode. Actually, every episode.
Yeah.
That what you're talking about here in Chillicothe, you can have an idea, you can make it happen right here. You didn't have to go to Columbus.
No.
You didn't have to go to Cincinnati. You didn't have to go to New York. You didn't have to go where maybe other manufacturers felt like they needed to go to do something like this. You stayed home in your community that you grew up in. And I think that's really, we hear that story every week.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to hear that.
We have a great community. I mean, we really do. I mean, the mind power in our community is just tremendous. I mean, it really is. From, the esports to just how people are growing businesses there on Payne Street from nothing to something great. It's just take control of the wheel and do it yourself. And I mean, it's endless what the possibility. So if you have determination, I mean, you could really do anything, honestly. So,
just so we get it out there, give everybody your website address, where you're at on social media.
Website is www.jerky.pro, Pro, and the socials is everything at JerkyPro or /JerkyPro.
Yep. So, from my perspective, like your social media, I think you do a good job. I think number one, you get the idea that the Facebook audience and the Twitter audience are different.
Absolutely.
And a lot of companies don't do that, especially small businesses.
Absolutely.
They treat everything the same. And so having those two separate audiences is super important, and recognizing that even though Twitter's much more conversational than Facebook, and being able to handle that conversation, I think, is really, really good. So the anonymity with Twitter,
of course, you see a lot of hate on those, especially if you don't know who's behind that. And in the 6 years we've been doing that, not one time have I ever seen anything negative toward our company, which is also surprising. Yeah. I mean, not one negative comment, not one bad review, and it's really nice. It tells me that we're doing something right. Yeah. And I think that goes hand in hand when you're really active with your following. A lot of people expect people to make a product and then just automatically come to them. So even if it's as little as getting on and playing a video game, just sitting in a lobby or something and sit and talk to them, or go to their Twitch channel and interacting with them, donate a few bucks to their channel to help them out, or help them do giveaways and say, hey, have people follow your channel and we'll give away free jerky to them. We'll do that for you. That goes so far. And it's surprising me how or why these larger companies don't do that. Yeah, I don't see Jack Links doing that. I'll just tell them the company. There's another company, Jerky XP. That's one of our rivals within the esports part of it. I just don't see them doing that, and it blows my mind. And it just takes
don't tell them.
A little bit of time. It's like you can't expect people to just come to you all the time, and starts with
what I find about snack foods, and I think particularly things like beef jerky and snack foods that are consumed by the esports folks, is they will be loyal to a certain brand, but they will experiment with other brands.
That is so interesting. You mentioned that. That is so interesting. And this a little bit of smack talk, but I guess it's not, however you take it. But you got Jack Links, right? We are Chillicothe, Ohio. JerkyPro is the official jerky of esports. Jack Links has decided, there's a market there in that esports. So they start throwing out tens of thousands of dollars to different companies. Well, that doesn't mean anything. If you're not engaging and actually supporting, they don't care. These guys, they're as loyal as you can get. Some of these people, they have real lives too outside of video game, but they have genuine connections and genuine friends with these people that they probably will never meet. Yeah. And then you have these companies like, well, we'll just throw out a bunch of money and we'll expect them that's never Mr. Jack Links, that's never going to happen. So we can stop that. So, and it's really very odd to see that happen.
Yeah. Your customers see through that.
Absolutely.
See through that, right through that.
Absolutely. So loyalty is a big thing. It really is.
Well, I truly believe you are doing the right things.
Thanks.
I think last year the Torch Award was that wasn't just a happenstance thing.
Yeah.
Nobody nominates somebody for an award out of Columbus from Chillicothe, Ohio, without there being a good reason to do so. So just know that, you
made an impact.
Yeah,
absolutely. And another award that really shocked us in 2017 and 2018, we actually won the National Beef Jerky Award out in San Diego. We wasn't there. Someone nominated that again. So it's like we're doing these things, people's putting our names out there, and it's like, well, how do we win this award back to back? It's just the coolest thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, good work gets noticed. Honesty and integrity gets noticed, I think.
Absolutely.
And I think that's exactly where I think JerkyPro is. And I feel like, with you at the helm and educating the others that may follow in the right way, I think it's going to stay there.
I think so.
Not that there's not going to be challenges, but I love what you've done. I love the way you've marketed your company and just the way you've handled your business. So I think it's been really great to have you on today, and just
I appreciate that,
Mike. Just keep doing what you're doing. I think we say that every week, like keep doing what you're doing, because I think it's really shedding a great light on our community, and particularly on you guys. So
yeah, it's an important example for other businesses in our community to see.
I agree.
See those things happen.
And not everything has to be a brick and mortar store,
right?
No,
and not everything has to be a bright lights and big city type thing. It can be operated out of a home and produced, but quality.
Yeah, when we do our stores, they're direct to the store. So from our co-packers right on, and then we have our offices and internet sales. We shoot it straight from the office, and that's it. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. It's phenomenal, and processing this stuff, and it's a really neat experience, honestly.
Yeah, it's obvious that you enjoy it,
and that
comes across.
I think that's why it doesn't feel like a job. It feels more like a hobby. And I think if you genuinely like what you're doing and you enjoyed what you're doing, the growth is endless,
Yeah.
And
let me backtrack for a quick second, because there's one thing that just occurred to me as you said that.
Sure.
So like you went into being a cop thinking that you would be a cop for a long time.
Oh, a long time. Yeah.
And so when you injure your back and you essentially get told you can't be a cop anymore.
Right.
I understand that you basically were like, all right, let me pivot to what I know I can do.
And that was a problem, because after, several years into, you're talking almost 17 years law enforcement. What trade do you do?
Right.
And then over time, I do what I do best: talk, be honest, and interact. I love our community. I love talking to people. I love public speaking. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And it's just you have to change course, and I think I've really been able to do that successfully, and I really love it.
Yeah, it's all about building relationships.
Sure.
If you're good at building relationships, then you can turn that into lots of different things.
Absolutely.
So, and that's what you did. You're comfortable there, so you were able to like Mike said, pivot.
Absolutely.
Make that work for you.
And we even mixing into the esports part of it, we got into the MMA scene, and that Isaac Steele, he's a
local fighter.
Yeah, he's in law enforcement now, and that's just so cool to see he's done that, and seeing how he's translated that into something productive like that too. Yeah. He was a great fighter also, and he still is. And then that just really got us into the actual professional MMA scene. So we started working with people from UFC to Bellator to different things like that. And again, to scale us, when we started to see our bull logo, and it's really notable, when we start seeing that on TV, in a Bellator or a cage match, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
So it's really neat. And we have a few fighters that's got a fight coming up in Vegas. Serena DeJesus. She'll be fighting here soon, and she's roommates. I'm pretty sure they're still roommates with a gal named Roxanne Modafari, and we work with a guy named Bubba Jenkins, and I mean, there's just Gilbert Jamal Smith. There's just so many different ones of them. Those guys were on The Ultimate Fighter from UFC. So you talk about watching these reality shows and seeing your package of beef jerky on these shows. It's like, wow.
It's like
how did we get here? You
right.
know,
It's like kind of like winning an Academy Award at some point in time. Like, how did this happen? Right? Like, it's just amazing story.
And you nailed it earlier. Just being honest and creating a great business out of it, and that's that's the stepping stones of everything. So
Well, again, really want to thank you for coming on. I think it's been a great, again, we say it quite frequently, but keep doing what you're doing, because I think it's really just, it's exactly the type of story that Ross County is about.
Sure.
Right.
And, thanks for also being the latest in a series of Marty's former soccer players from St. Trace to come on.
Folks, Marty was my soccer coach in 1995.
That's right.
And
I love the way you said that, because that made it sound much more long, much down the road.
Well, I wasn't that much older, though.
No.
I had just graduated a few years before that. And, but yeah, Dan was one of my soccer players. We had a lot of fun back then.
Oh my gosh, we really did.
We did.
I'm going to have to declare a moratorium on Marty's former players just for a short period of time.
At least for season 1.
Yeah.
Did we just age ourselves?
Yeah, I think we did. Dan.
Well, nobody in this room is older than me. So, I mean,
that's true. Yeah.
Let's just be honest. We're all trailing the play a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, thanks for coming on, and thanks for doing what you're doing.
Yeah, again, our website, www.jerky.pro. And then this week we're launching our new apple jerky. We're the only company in the United States that's making an apple jerky. And we're excited to see where this goes.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's pretty
I'm intrigued.
So.
I already am. I saw it on your website, or maybe it was on Facebook, and I was already in.
Nice.
Because I'm a big fan of the honey glaze.
Yes.
Big fan.
That's what I had for lunch, actually.
My daughter is a big fan of the sweet barbecue. So, I think now I'm hungry for jerky.
Yeah, me too.
There you go.
Where's the closest store that has it?
Yeah.
That's all right.
If anything else, you can see us at our next event at Jeep Fest. I think it's just coming up right at the corner.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's another great thing for Ross County, to be honest with you. So
Yeah, that's cool. It keeps growing every year too.
I agree. I'm excited for it. So yeah, we'll see you all guys out there.
Sounds great. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks.
You've been listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford.
A little strange, but I don't feel alone. We just settled in and it already feels like home. Feels like home. Feels like home.